At that moment, the domineering CEO pinched my chin, gripped my waist, and smirked at me. Get on top. F***ck off, you disgusting man. Let your white moonlight do it. I kicked him right in the family jewels, then turned and ran away, with a baby bump. Yeah, get on top. When I regained consciousness, a disheveled man with reddened eyes was half embracing me. My body was barely covered by a few scraps of clothing, and a broken red string hung from my wrist, likely torn during some intense struggle. If I wasn't mistaken, this man had to be the young master of the capital's elite circles, Quinn Chambers, who had kept me as his canary for 3 years. Outwardly, he played the role of a devoted man, swearing he'd never touch anyone but his white moonlight, so convincing he almost believed it himself. Before I could speak, his hands were already moving toward the next step. Panicked, I kicked him where it hurt the most, scrambled into my clothes, and bolted for the door. Before leaving, I took one last look at the man on the bed, his handsome face twisted in pain as he gritted his teeth. After 3 years of being trapped in silence, I couldn't resist finally speaking my mind. See clearly. Me, Jessica Moore, am not your damn yaya. The one who took over my body was her. The one who shamelessly threw herself at you for 3 years was her. Don't come crying to me just because you didn't get what you wanted. Whatever. He wouldn't understand or believe me anyway. He'd probably just think I'd lost my mind. Seeing the utter shock on his face, I decided arguing was pointless. Grabbing my phone, wallet, and essentials, I left without looking back. I, Jessica Moore, grew up without parents. From the start, I knew better than anyone that relying on others was a fool's game. Besides, as a modern woman of the 21st century, how could I not have my own career? Being some rich guy's kept woman for 3 years, where was my dignity? My self-respect? Thinking back on those years as Quinn's canary, it all felt like some bizarre dream. Aside from the occasional flashes of memory from my forced slumber, my last clear recollection was from my college graduation job fair. That day, I ran into Mrs. Delaney, an old lady from the nursing home where I used to volunteer, and her husband. They were unusually excited and gave me a red string bracelet, saying they'd gotten it from a temple in the mountains just for me. They warned me, when the string breaks, disaster comes. No matter what, never take it off. Huh. Those two must have been behind this. The bracelet I'd treasured and worn so carefully had somehow become the tool of my torment. As I stormed down the stairs from Quinn's bedroom, my mind raced. This time, I was taking back everything that belonged to me. Then, bam! I slammed face first into a towering bodyguard blocking my path. Miss Moore, you can't leave yet. Your father borrowed $100,000 from Mr. Chambers yesterday. Until it's repaid, you must stay by his side as per the contract. Father? I was an orphan, raised by the system. Since when did I have a father? He handed me the IOU. Black ink on white paper. Father John Moore borrows $100,000, to be repaid by daughter Jessica Moore. Then he gave me a phone. A video played, showing me and a middle-aged man calling each other father and daughter, pressing their fingerprints onto the document. At the standard rate for a capital socialite's canary, your mid-tier, $25,000 a year. After 4 years, you'll be free. $100,000. Revenge was a dish best served cold, but if I ran now and got sued, that was solid evidence of fraud. Survival first. Forcing the fakest smile imaginable, I sprinted back to the bedroom and yanked open Quinn's freshly buttoned shirt. So, did you enjoy my little improv roleplay earlier? Wanna pick up where we left off? Turns out, Quinn still couldn't forget his white moonlight. He threw a grand welcome back party for her, and, in a twist of cruel irony, chose me as his +1. I didn't need to look up to feel the weight of the stares, the hushed gossip burning into my skin. My toes curled hard enough to dig a grave. What kind of demonic revenge is this? Quinn was busy schmoozing, leaving me to my own devices. Just before his big speech, I slipped away to the restroom. Pulling out my charger, I turned on my phone. Notifications exploded like fireworks. 5 minutes later, it ended with a final message from Sophie. Jessica, I threw out the best friend necklace you gave me. We're done. I scrolled up. The timestamp read 3 years ago. Sophie was my ride or die. We grew up together in the orphanage, thick as thieves. 3 years gone, just like that. I typed a reply. A red exclamation mark. Blocked. For minutes, I just stood there, the pain of loss hardening into a black stone in my chest. My legs gave out, and I slumped against the sink. Under the glittering chandeliers, I was just a well-dressed clown. Well. Look who it is. About to get dumped by your sugar daddy? Is the sky falling? I looked up. Sophie leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, disdain dripping from her voice. I missed you, I blurted, reaching for her. She stepped back smoothly. Look at you now. Miss me? Now? After you dropped me the second you got a man? She turned to leave, as if she couldn't stand the sight of me. I chased after her. Sophie, let me explain. Splash. Red wine cascaded down my face. A shrill, faux surprised gasp followed, drawing every eye in the room. You must be Miss Moore? The woman who'd accidentally spilled her drink waved over a server, dabbing at my collar with a napkin. Under the pretense of helping, she tugged my already low neckline dangerously lower. My apologies, Miss Moore. Emily didn't mean to. How much was this dress? Quinn's money, I assume? I'll pay you back. She lingered on his name, sweet as poisoned honey. I shoved her hand away. Don't bother. And just like that, she fell, right into Quinn's path as he arrived. Eyes instantly wet, she looked up at him, pouting. And who are you supposed to be? Sophie cut in, arms crossed. Feeling generous? Great. Pay up. Now that you're back, hand over a check for $500,000, and I'll drag Jessica far away from your precious Quinn. And, just a thought, you're acting so bad, did you fake those tears with the wine? Sophie delivered the verbal smackdown with the energy of someone who'd spent a lifetime battling fakes. She even threw in an eye roll for good measure, pointedly ignoring my stunned, grateful stare. Same old Sophie. Back in the orphanage, she'd undo my braids just to mess with me, then beat up any boy who dared pull my hair. Some things never changed. Emily, realizing Quinn wasn't rushing to her aid, picked herself up. As she did, her wrist lifted, revealing a red string identical to the one I'd seen when I woke up. Sophie, I called. She glanced over. Is wearing red strings some rich people trend now? Not that I know of. Besides the one you wore when you snapped the pearl bracelet I saved up to buy you at 13, this is only the second time I've seen it. Why did Emily have a red string? I needed answers. I moved to follow her, but a hand yanked me back. Quinn blocked my path. You're soaked. We're leaving. My hand drifted to my stomach. Right. Summer nights were chilly. If I caught a cold, with my luck, it could be deadly. Quinn practically carried me home. The entire ride, he had the driver crank the heat to max, sweat pouring down his own forehead, yet he never once rolled down the window. At his estate, he carried me upstairs, set the perfect bath temperature, and nearly offered to wash me himself. Too embarrassed, and wary of his intentions, I politely kicked him out and locked the door. By the time I finished, it was midnight. Stepping out, I realized I'd forgotten pajamas. After some awkward negotiation through the door, Quinn handed me a bundle of clothes. Lingerie. Every piece skimpier than the last. Damn, girl. You wild. Not a single decent option. Not opening the door? His voice was amused. It's my bedroom. You think I don't have a key? Gritting my teeth, I grabbed one of his oversized dress shirts and surrendered. Why are you barefoot? His gaze darkened when he saw me. Without a word, he lifted me onto the bed and started blow-drying my hair, his fingers brushing my cheeks occasionally. Even without a mirror, I knew my face was burning. Ugh. Being weak for pretty faces is a disease. I broke the silence. Sugar daddy? He coughed. Mr. Chambers? If you're using me to make your white moonlight jealous, I'll play along. But if you're just trying to two-time, I'm out. Even if you do own my debt, I won't be the other woman. Call me Quinn, he said abruptly. Quinny? That's a nice name. The little boy I had a crush on at the orphanage was also called Money. He was so handsome, big eyes, long lashes. Ugh, my mouth moved faster than my brain. I pinched my thigh hard and shut up immediately. I was probably the least qualified canary in the entire capital. But as I studied his expression, I noticed the man in front of me had blushed. Weird. Was Quinn Chambers into guys as a kid? Quinn insisted I sleep in his bedroom but respected my boundaries, keeping his hands to himself. We spent the night stiff as boards, lying side by side like soldiers at attention. The next morning, sunlight warmed my face as I woke up. While debating what to wear, a maid knocked and wheeled in a rack of the season's latest luxury outfits for me to choose from. After freshening up, a celebrity makeup artist arrived to do my hair, makeup, and nails. Holy crap. Living like this even once is worth it. I begged the butler for a stack of burner SIM cards and bombarded Sophie with calls until she finally accepted my friend request. First move? Sending her $1,314 with the message. Babe, pick whatever you want, newest bags, clothes, whatever. Quinn basically handed me a wholesale catalog. A promise was a promise. All those "I'll treat you someday" dreams I'd sold her? Time to deliver. We got so carried away planning imaginary trips, movie dates, runs, and dinner menus that when Quinn called to forbid me from leaving the house, Sophie scoffed. Wow. Insecure much? Spends all this effort dolling you up just to hide you away? Pathetic. I kept my pregnancy a strict secret from the Chambers family. Sure, sometimes Quinn's stupidly handsome face made me zone out, but I knew my place. Emily Windsor, his white moonlight, was the obvious choice for a business alliance. Right now, I was just a prop in their lovers' quarrel. But if Emily found out I was pregnant? I'd be kicked out before I could uncover the truth about my debt. No money, no options, just me begging Sophie to fund an abortion. At least for now, the Chambers' resources were still at my disposal. The real kicker? The soul who hijacked my body had zero ambition. No job, no self-improvement, just lazing around waiting for Quinn to come home and sleep with her. Peak loser behavior. Aside from saddling me with $100,000 in debt, she hadn't done anything outright evil. Almost made me wonder if she'd just been another one of Quinn's obsessed fans. Whatever. A pretty face wasn't worth the drama. Have his kid? Then what? Spend life playing whack-a-mole with mistresses while my child called some other woman's kids siblings? Nope. Time to nip this in the bud. Decision made, I dialed Sophie. I ditched the maids and bodyguards by claiming I wanted a solo stroll in the garden, then slipped out the back gate. I'd prepped Sophie with snacks, beer, popcorn, but still needed 40 minutes to convince her I'd been body snatched. Doubtful? Maybe. But her expression shifted from skeptical to battle-ready fast. She paced, made calls, pulled strings, and within hours, got me an appointment with the best OB/GYN in the city. During the exam, she death-gripped my hand, muttering, "This is my fault. I shouldn't have cut ties when you pushed me away. If I'd stayed, I'd have made sure you two used protection." Then, sighing, "You were always the obedient one. How'd you end up the biggest mess?" I squeezed back. "If you hadn't let go, whatever took over me might have hurt you. That would have killed me." Tears welled up. Men come and go, but ride or dies are forever. Just as I reached for a hug, she bolted, returning 3 minutes later with a psychiatrist's referral. I was halfway through my coerced mental health eval when Emily walked into the clinic. The door's soundproofing was too good. Eavesdropping was wrong, but not knowing felt worse. After losing rock paper scissors, Sophie guiltily cracked the door open. "Doctor, I think my memories are broken." Emily sat primly, voice soft as a breeze, nothing like the wine-spilling vixen from the party. "I remember buying a red string bracelet from an old lady in Australia, then nothing until this afternoon. My friends say I changed, but I don't recall any of it." "Is that normal?" Sophie and I locked eyes. Fragmented memories? Missing time? Was Emily possessed too? Thanks to Sophie's connections, my results came back fast. Everything was normal, scheduled for termination in a week. On the drive back, Sophie slapped her own face, as if forcing herself to accept that body snatching was real. Then she called her boss. "Mr. Yang, about that failed deal with CEO Zhang? Turns out I was possessed. That's why I acted so off." The resulting yelling almost blew out my eardrums. But the real storm waited at home. Quinn stood by the car door, face thunderous. He dragged me inside, shoved me onto his lap, and crushed me against his chest. For a second, I almost melted. Gently, I patted his back and teased, "It's okay, Quinny. Be good." "Big mistake." He kissed me like a man starved, then wrenched himself away, fists clenched. Weird. Based on my fragmented memories, Quinn usually couldn't keep his hands off me 7 to 8 times a week. Now? Radio silence. A terrible thought struck me. Did I break him that night? It lined up. Since the kick, he'd been weirdly respectful. Too scared to ask directly, I stammered. "Look, it's fine if you can't, you know. Once is enough for a man's pride, right? I'd never embarrass you in front of Emily." Then, remembering my wallet, should I chip in for treatment? Thud. He tossed me onto the bed, loosening his tie with a smirk. "Want to test that theory? Pervert." After that, Quinn stopped confining me to the house, just demanded itinerary updates and assigned bodyguards. He also started sleeping with me, literally. No funny business, though sometimes I'd wake up to pressure against my back. You know. Slowly, I accepted it. I had feelings for Quinn Chambers. Even if it wasn't forever, being this rich, hot man something was still an honor. On surgery day, I repeated my escape, told the guards I was shopping with Sophie, no boys allowed, had Quinn clear the mall, then bolted through a bathroom exit. We arrived 3 hours early. As we parked, Sophie nudged me. "Look. Emily's being shady again." Curiosity won. We tailed her car to an abandoned parking garage, winding deep underground. Too risky to drive further, so we crept forward on foot, guided by my orphanage-honed sense of direction, until dim candlelight appeared. A raspy voice echoed. "Yeah." The endearment dripped with menace. "Where's your patience? I sent you to seduce men for money, not fall in love. 3 years with Quinn Chambers, and you only scammed $100,000? Pathetic." A bony hand yanked a struggling cat by its throat. "Fail me again, and you'll end up like this useless thing." The cat's cries faded to silence. A trembling figure knelt. "Auntie Zhao, I'll repay your kindness. I'll get the $200,000. As the woman turned, candlelight revealed her face. Sophie gasped in shock, accidentally kicking a pebble. I immediately clamped a hand over her mouth and let out a convincing meow, signaling her to stay silent. Just then, another sound came from the opposite end of the corridor. Perhaps wary of being discovered, the old woman quickly left, leaving only the woman who called herself Yaya. Yaya lay on a rickety cot, pricking her wrist with a needle and smearing blood onto the red string bracelet. Then, from another previously motionless bed, Emily slowly sat up. Sophie and I trembled uncontrollably. Despite the June heat, our fingers were numb with a bone-deep chill. As Emily turned away, Sophie and I exchanged frantic, silent glances. Sensing danger, Sophie yanked my arm, desperate to leave. But I couldn't move, my gaze locked on the woman, pity stirring in my chest. Please, take me with you. The woman had somehow appeared behind me, her skeletal arms clutching my legs. Sophie kicked her away. You stole my best friend's body, and now you dare beg for her help? You don't deserve it. Sophie, I said, helping the woman up. I get it, loving someone even when you know it's hopeless. Look at her. She was forced into this too. And besides scamming money, she never actually hurt anyone. 3 years. 3 years close to Quinn, with access to his wealth, yet she never exploited it. Besides, this body belongs to the real Emily. If we save her, remove the red string, she can reclaim her life. Was this sympathy between love-struck fools? Sophie looked torn between exasperation and fury. Even though she clearly wanted to strangle the woman who'd hijacked my body for 3 years, Sophie finally relented with a sigh. Fine. My car's faster. Emily, now sensing our lowered guard, led us deeper into the basement. The light grew fainter until... Too late. A burlap sack dropped over us. Ha 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 ha. 2 overlapping, manic laughs echoed as darkness swallowed me whole. I woke in a clean storage room. Sophie, the unconscious real Emily, her red string severed, and... Quinn, all bound and gagged. Quinny? Why are you? Shut your mouths. The door burst open. The body snatcher stood there, laughing hysterically, then sobbing violently. Zhang Yue? Sophie recoiled. You psychotic. Zhang Yue seized my throat. Jessica Moore. Even at the orphanage, everyone loved you. I was always second best. She whirled on Sophie. And you? I made it clear I was cutting ties after landing a rich man. I threw out every gift you gave her. Yet you still forgave her? What's so special about you? She screamed at me. Why does everyone worship you? Quinn's expression darkened. It's you. Zhang Yue lit up. Quinny. You remember me. She caressed his face. 3 years in Jessica's body, loving you, was it all for nothing? Then, back to me, slap. Why does SHE get to call you Quinny? Can I? Huh? Her mood swung violently. Why couldn't you love me? Why? She smashed objects blindly before pulling out a white pill. If she's gone, will you finally love me? Like you did when we were kids. Forcing my jaw open, she shoved the pill down my throat. Watch her die, she whispered. Helpless. Just like I was. As the drug took effect, I saw Sophie and Quinn writhing toward me, ropes cutting their skin. I saw Zhang Yue collapse, laughing through tears. I saw the butler, bodyguards, and police swarm in, handcuffing her. Then... nausea. I vomited violently. I lived. The nurse said my morning sickness saved me, the baby flushed out the poison. Sophie, exhausted, hugged me crying before leaving to sleep. Only Quinn remained, eyes bloodshot, trembling. When I hugged him, he choked on unspoken words. But I heard them anyway. Epilogue, Quinn's POV. My parents were always busy. As a child, I got lost chasing butterflies during a rare family outing. A girl with round eyes found me. I could barely speak then, just babbled Qian. Qian. Jiao. She laughed. Called me money. Said it'd make me rich enough to spoil loved ones. That night, she sneaked me the best thing she'd ever eaten, a box of overripe cherries. The next day, playing hide-and-seek, my parents found me. I never got her name. Years later, I searched everywhere. Then one day, a girl called me Quinny. She said her name was Jessica Moore, but insisted I call her Yaya. Her jealousy felt wrong. Not like my childhood girl. I kept her close, hoping time had changed her. For 3 years, she wore lingerie, played games, pushed for more. But some nights, her eyes were different. Pure. Like my girl. Those nights, I couldn't resist. Then one day, Jessica snapped. I'm not Yaya. I'm Jessica Moore. That's when I knew she was back. As for Emily Windsor? Purely platonic. Her fiancé's my best friend. The White Moonlight Act was just to fend off gold diggers. But when Emily suddenly returned, acting unlike herself, I suspected the truth. I hired investigators. Alerted the police. Then I found Jessica's hidden ultrasound, and the childhood note I'd written her. My girl. My baby. When she disappeared, I tore the city apart. And when I saw Zhang Yue forcing that pill down her throat. I've never run faster in my life. Epilogue, Jessica's POV. Sophie, Zhang Yue, and I grew up together. Zhang Yue was the orphanage's darling, until I arrived at age 5. Her jealousy festered. At 6, when Quinn, then Money, showed up, she sabotaged every girl who got close to him. The more she schemed, the more isolated she became, until the shady Zhang couple took her in. Unofficially. For profit. They'd discovered the body-snatching trick, using it to scam over 20 victims. A month after the arrest, funded by the Chambers, the police dismantled the operation. Zhang Yue, John, and Joan would rot in prison. With the red strings destroyed, I regained memories from my lost years. I'd assumed Quinn was a playboy. But those rare intimate moments? Always with the real me. Love sees truth. Greed blinds. Our child was born healthy. Years later, at Emily's belated wedding, she ranted. I was happily in Australia when BAM, suddenly obsessed with Quinn. Me? And someone recorded it for my fiancé. Took me a month to explain. Laughter erupted, until our 5-year-old sprinted in, waving a letter. Mommy. Did you get love notes too? Emily snatched it, gasping. Quinn's handwriting. His calligraphy teacher made him rewrite these 100 times. I'd recognize this chicken scratch anywhere. Quinn chased our son, their silhouettes overlapping, just like that game of hide and seek, lifetimes ago.